And we are going to keep the games on rolling here, Naitaro, as we move into the enemies versus Azeri Esports. And if that other one is anything to go off, bro, I don't know who to predict.
I've got you covered on that one. Don't worry here. I still have one of my favorite teams here. The most generic name you'll ever find when you're fighting anyone. The enemies. I think they're going to be a strong one coming in against Azeri Esports here. But Azeri, they might have something to show. After the David versus Goliath, I think Azeri might still have a chance here. And you know what? Tano, both of pants, we got caught with them down. You know, after that last match, I don't think we can pull it down any longer. The scoreline is 10-2 to 2-9. You know, if Azeri catches on the second time, I don't know what to tell you.
Mate, imagine the scenes if Azeri take down the number 2 squad here in the EUL. That would be insane. As we have a look at their squad, Brasbo, Yeniko, Clem, Jimidu, and Quento range things out here. Having a look at, of course, their current accolades. We do have a French caster with Brasbo being on the line. Absolutely love that. And then we've got some, well, Clem's going to be the substitute. Top 3 in UCS for Jimidu ×2, and top 8 here for Quento. We can't count out. They won some weeklies, bro.
Hey, you know, we have a caster representing the enemies here. You know, there's a team that we have to call out. But as we go to Azeri Esports here, again, quite a clean slate across the board here, but still have some accolades that we got to call out here. We have some regional wins here, some in the top 8 of the UCS here, and of course, in a few other cases here, we are going to see whether Azeri can pick themselves up pretty well. They have a very, very rough scoreline here with only 2 wins to their name, but that's still 2 wins up some teams.
Hey, bro. Verbs Esports only had 2 wins to their name.
Yeah.
Look what they just did. David and Goliath may continue to be the state of this broadcast today. I cannot wait to see how this one shakes up. Or we might just go back to the status quo and the enemies put in an absolutely dominating fashion. But having a substitute in and, you know, a few different players coming into your squad here, it's not the same that you've played throughout the entirety of this EUL, Naitaro.
Right, so I'm gonna see if that's gonna stay the same here because could be a little bit of change, but I just want to note everyone here, there is a difference in terms of the pick bans here. This is 3 bans across both teams here. On the other side, we had 2 ban, right? So just make sure you guys are keeping up with that here. We have Mew, Hoopa, Greninja, Palmot, Suicune, and Snorlax on the ban.
Ooh, okay, so Azeri are pulling out the Sableye. We don't get to see this often at all. The enemy's sticking with the tried and tested comps here, as we do see Quento rotating onto the Mamoswine, and Yeniko pulls out that Inteleon. So Azeri, they got to think on the spot here, and they've got to pull out something that can really shut down those snipe shots.
Well, let's see if that's the case here, as we see a lock into Blaziken. Very strong bruiser. It's got to be going to the backline against Inteleon. I wouldn't want to see that if I were it. But we might see the Peloton's coming in as well here, so it's a very strong bruiser fight. And if there's a lock-in onto Lucario, of course, I'm a happy man. Enemies, they're my favorite team. And you know what? Status quo.
Looks like they're going to go onto the Cerulean instead. Go for that pseudo speedster moveset here, trying to see if they can get onto a Ma on that Venusaur. Of course, they're having a nosy at it. They're waiting until the final few moments to see if they change their moveset at all. It looks like it's going to be a B move right now, so it is going to be a good shout for them to go onto that Cerulean for it. But if it was a pedal dance, maybe not quite so sure.
Hey, no, you can't say that. Technically speaking, with eject button, they can close the gap whenever they need to with the pedal dance. See, you need to think a little outside the box. If they misclick, then they misclick. But I'm very sure this is going to be a pedal sore.
okay. I believe it, bro. I believe it. And, you know, with the way these games have been going today, it could really be so. But this is the state of our comps right now. And it does, looking at it at the moment, I do think a little bit more on the side of the enemies. But I got to say, these Sableyes at the moment have been so good, Naitaro, especially with the stunning as well to set up the beams coming through from the Venusaur, or even if a Yami-chan's going to go for the Psy Shock here, that's going to be even better for those team fights.
Right, so this is gonna be the lineup that we have here. We're gonna see enemies going in for a pretty mixed bruiser comp with like 1 long range player with Yeneko onto the Inteleon. On the other side here could be a lot more frontline heavy, especially since they got Sableye to run around as well to throw orbs around, and they have technically a pedal user, potentially Solar Beam. They've got a mix of options here. It's gonna come down to how the enemies want to play, and Azeri can adapt to that. And so I'm gonna be honest with you, Azeri might be the one with the lower scoreline here, but they could be the most flexible team here going into the enemies right now.
Well, one thing's for sure, you will see some of these teams rooting for the others to win, as Azeri Esports are very close down in that other side of the league with Verbs Esports, buddy. They're very close with the 2-9 record, so it's one of those where they're probably going to be rooting for the enemies to win here. The enemies are currently, second place. It's not going to make much difference to a team like Verbs Esports if they get the win over Azeri.
I'm looking at the scoreline here. There's a lot of points going into Azeri Esports when you're looking at the predictions here. Enemies only having quite a bit here. I'm quite surprised.
I mean, hey, interesting. They're going to share out the central area experience here, give that red buff over to the side of the Glosser Fur, while Sableye is just going to do what a Sableye does here and go scoring from the get-go.
And that's a great start going into that, but that's not what we're looking at. We're looking into the bot side here. 2 EVs going in here, fighting against the Swino, but a little bit close for comfort. They do manage to get on the pad and holding themselves off. Ayami-chan, he's looking really good.
Oh,
Never
I'm
mind.
not sure. I would not have gone back for that without grabbing a citrus berry, bro. Quento just shuts them down with another burst of that ice and goes and takes both citrus berries here. The enemies just showing that little bit of extra experience they have in these games, mate.
Right, cast the curse on me. Sorry, guys. That's on my bad. Looking into that, though, they do have a little bit of advantage moving into this here. Clem taking a bit of damage, not enough to clean this one up here. It's looking really good for the 850, though, as they have a lot more moves to kind of clean this one up here. Starting the fight, a lot of HP going down here, and it looks like we have a clear winner here. The enemy is pushing themselves up for 2 KOs moving into that.
It's going to be Sludge Bomb coming out, so it is going to be the Beamer Saw, but the difficulty is when you don't have any backup in your lane, and your backup is the Sableye and a Torchic versus that full set Cerulege and the Buzzwole with the Slam. It's pretty much impossible for you to do much to defend that.
Right, and you can definitely see how that's going to be a big problem here. Moving into that, though, center area, we have the Natsu's not being taken up here, but Umbreon is going to continue contesting that with the mean look coming in here. A little bit of dash, but not enough here. The eject button closing the gap here, making sure that he gets out of reach. And now moving to that, Regidrago is going to be puffing bot side here. Clem is actually in the right position to start taking it on here, while Ivysaur top side might have to take a little bit more time to clean up the central area before going in.
I think Quento is just absolutely ridiculous in that bottom lane, buddy. Illegal being able to grab those KOs, and we do take the Regidrago for the side of the enemies. That's even more experience than what Azeri were hoping for. The beams do finally come through, but the 30 is going to reign true, and now Sludge Bomb down. They could get a huge pick here if they throw it out with a beam. They do find Buzzwole, but Cerulege just gets away, or do they? A stun from Sableye. Full heal is thrown, though, and they get back onto the pad.
It's a great start here. That's a 30. A second 30. No, we don't see it. Sableye, unfortunately, not picking it up here. Overheat committing into that, as we do see Slower being finishing off onto the center edge here with a trade back into Elder Gods onto Blaziken. But that's a little bit unfortunate, because if we saw the Venusaur pick up Pedal Dance here, could have been a very different story. A minor misclick on their part, but all is good here. They are still holding their ground here. Highest level is on Venusaur at level 9.
Bro, where's Lobo? We've got a Liquidation Inteleon on Fire Sky Ruins. They absolutely love that moveset, and that is going to be good lock-in to try and see if they can get into the side of that Venusaur. Right now, though, Azeri trying to push back in the top lane. They do find a KO onto the Buzzwole, but can they deal with Clem? No, they can't. The Cerulege is absolutely in this top side.
And already they're going to continue the onslaught here. Moving in back here, the Blaziken unfortunately not able to fight against swords. I mean, who would have thought? Hands versus swords, huh? What a telling story. Moving on to that here, Regieleki is going to try and commit into it here, but no, not before Quento finishing it off. As we do see here, the fight ensues here. Umbreon not looking too good after that pile slime slams it down into a pancake. Moving forward though, we are seeing a Registeel pick up on top side here, and again the onslaught onto the enemies going into Azeri.
Very aggressive movesets coming out of the enemies here, buddy, as Quento's diving in on top of them. We've got the Liquidation coming out from the Inteleon. Every single moveset they've gone for is more of the aggressive style, but look at this. That is the power of Blaziken. You bash them into the wall, you'll kick them back to Nurse Joy and get yourself a double KO.
And already, as we do see here, they have so much ground to cover back when it comes to Zeri Esports making some headways here. They have a little bit of damage, it's just slowly being not enough here. First coming in, Mamoswai picks it up with the Ice Fang, picks it up onto Blaziken, stuck there. We do see Wish coming in to hold them back for the ground. But again, stuck in the corner is going to be Mamoswai, who's happily taking that mean look. And they do pick themselves up for the Umbreon, who has made a cautious and very callous mistake. Moving in here, we are seeing Venusaur in a very precarious situation. A nice eject button coming in here, the Ice Fang not committing in here. Nice going in, and now we're gonna see if they can continue to make some headways here as the entire team flies back into the fray.
I absolutely love this from Yaneko coming on out. There's the Azure Spy Vision. They are going to get taken down. But I'm loving the way they're playing this liquidation right now. But he's just managing to get around the outskirts of these team fights and landing those liquidations onto the weak targets. Hitting the Sableye, hitting the Eldegoss, hitting the Venusaur. It's making a huge difference for their team fight as we got a great effort coming out from Blaziken here. But ultimately, they fall to the Swole.
Right, and now let's take a look at how they're going to continue to push their damage here. It's going to be the fact that they have Inteleon and Zero Edge kind of helping Quento to continue the onslaught. Flame Charge coming in here, no pickups for that. But Diverted Anger coming in here and dishing some damage, not enough. Sableye picking them back, not enough to clean this one up. But a beam to the head is going to lock Inteleon back out of the game and into the Pokemon Center here. Blaziken coming in, returning a favor here. Eldegoss holding its ground with his team. 3 players to 4. The Sableye is running in to try and stop them here. Calling Crash, Infestor trying to find a spot for something. Does heal back the Mamoswai here, but we do see Ceaseless Edge coming in here to take them down for 2 as we do continue here. Blaziken is back in the fray, and unfortunate for them, I mean, it could have gone with a lot less KOs, but hey, you know what? They do get the Regieleki, the investment coming in here, and a massive 50 dunk.
That was just on the back of Elendalis just refusing to go down on that Blaziken, buddy. I mean, they're still doing it now, eventually. Swole does find the KO. It's like Solaire's going to come on out here, buy a little bit of space, take down the Buzzwole, but they are looking for this Inteleon. We do see the stored power coming on out. The eject button was paired with a Psybeam, but they still don't find the KO yet, and I can bet you right now, this Mamoswine is looking to put the pressure on top of this Espeon as they try and get away from the Eldegoss here. Sableye coming back with the stuns, but it's not quick enough, and they find the KOs.
And just a little bit slip there, Sableye again getting that down to the Pokemon Center. I mean, you're absolutely right for that KO coming in there. Let's take a look at the scoreline though. 260 to 228 here as we're looking in very close. 3-minute mark here. The levels are also in favor of the enemies. And this is going to be a bit of a problem. How can they actually scale back into the game a little bit? They need some foothold here to put points in, and Azeri could still manage this entire problem. But right now, 300 points leading up here as they do have to take another Registeel fight. It looks very much in Azeri's favor.
Beam's going to come through. There's the overheat. They do manage to take the Registeel with Psybeam, the best secure in the game, in my opinion. They take the Registeel, massive buff, extra levels, as we now see 14 on this Fire Chicken. And I don't know what these teams have been eating today, Nightera, but this is incredible. Azeri have put up their best game yet versus the second in the league with the enemies.
And that's crazy to say the least here as we do follow it up now. We're going to see a big problem here. The 20-second mark is going in, and we're gonna see 2 minutes going in very close. They've lost the Sableye in the process. And just to counteract your point, I think Ghatlue's Talonflame's Unite move is the best secure.
Oh, nobody. The best secure in the game is Ghatlue's burp coming out from the Greedent. I'm calling it now, bro, as well on this channel. But here we go. Groudon is on the field. Beams coming on through already from a Mar, and the difficulty is they don't really have enough healing to deal with that on the side of the Eldegoss. It will go on to cooldown, but look at that from Yaneko, trying to see if they can get in and get the liquidation on to that Beam.
And again, they're going to continue to see if they can make the onslaught here. A few focus blasts coming in here. Liquidation chipping it out onto Blaziken here. A nice wish coming to heal them back up here. And from the back, Sableye goes in. They know that size. Ceaseless Edge coming in. Dish the damage for the Anger converting as well. As they do see a problem. As Azeri East was pushing back forward into this play. And they're slowly picking it up one at a time. Eldegoss, last one remaining here to hold the ground, but I'm very sure this is all she wrote here. Sableye just gonna chase it down here. And again, this is theirs to take. Groudon is all free for the pickings.
Bro, Azeri Esports just opened up the control, alt and delete, went over to the enemies and deleted that task, buddy. The team was destroyed within a matter of seconds. Now they take the Groudon and they're going to be able to push for some points into the goal here. Trying to defend it is the enemies. They still haven't got what they're looking for. 1 goal is all they need, and they have a Sableye on the side of Azeri.
2 at the bottom here. 3 is coming in to the fray here. Saber Eye also trying to join the fray. Now 3 players are into that since they lost 1 Busmo, which is a big problem here because that means 50 dunk here, and now they're in the lead solidly. Losing Intelligent as well. Who's going to defend? Top side here, 2 to the 1 Quinto, and unfortunately for them, it looks like another 50 is down in the patch here, giving them a double point of 100. 456 here, 30 seconds on the clock here, another 30 investment dunk, and a 50 to drop in as well with the Blaziker joining suit. 786 points here. There is absolutely no way Azeri is coming out with a loss on this round here. Looks like the enemies have to try to think of a new way to stop them in their tracks.
What is happening? What is happening today? Azeri Esports have just got 2 aces onto the enemies with the final 2 minutes left of this game, and they take game 1 very comfortably. Nightera, I cannot believe what I'm witnessing from these 2 teams. Verve Esports and Azeri have absolutely stepped it up in this week.
It's Metal Spy Ryan, but you're absolutely right. They've got themselves a very strong game coming into this one, and I absolutely love to see how this can pan out. But Tano, I'm going to be honest with you, they're going to catch our pants down once again. We've just pulled it back up, and I'm not really sure if I want to pull it back down.
I completely agree with you, buddy. I was not expecting that. I mean, I felt like Azeri were putting in a solid game versus the enemies as we progressed through that, but I felt like they were unable to stop Clem. Quento was dominating in any lane they were in, and Yanenko was managing to really sneak through with those liquidations. But they came to the Groudon Den and just pressed the delete button on the side of Azeri Esports. They obliterated the enemies with literally a couple of Unite moves, and boom, it was all down to just the one.
And tell me about it. I mean, like, what else can I possibly say moving into this game? I mean, if you look at the scoreline here, it was just a complete landslide after the Groudon. It was a very strong fight there that you can definitely tell. And otherwise, there's not much else you can really say other than the fact that Azeri played it out really well despite being on the back foot.
I love this, buddy, and I cannot wait to see how the enemies respond, because obviously we've seen how the Victory Road did, and it was so... I don't think it gets any closer than it did between those 2. And now, you know, the enemies are going to have to respond. This is not a position that teams like this are used to being in. The enemies have only lost 2 sets in the entirety of this league, buddy. So right now, they are in an uncomfortable position for themselves, whereas Azeri, I mean, their confidence must be sky high coming into this game too.
Well, it better be sky high. I mean, Azeri's doing Azeri's doing God's work here, right? I mean, like, next we're gonna see Crash Out GGB Ultimate, right? Like, that's kind of the story that we're going into today. It's a lot of strong games coming in here. I think this is going to be quite an interesting week 12, week 13 moving into this. So let's see if this holds true here. Azeri, you're getting my hopes a little bit high, and I'm gonna need you guys to, you know, either commit to finishing it off on a high or scale it back for me.
Blissey finally let through as, you know, people have realized we got to take Venusaur out of this game. Keep banning Venusaur, guys. It's ridiculously broken on this new map, but Crustle is finally going to be pulled out by Azeri Esports here.
Right. Now, the question remains on our minds here. We do have a Crustle that is currently giving me the heebie-jeebies, but Quento finishing it off, wrapping it back up, does not want to see the Ice Woolly Mammoth. We're going to go for the tree to contest against this Rock Crab. And in return, we might see the pickup onto some giant kaijus here. I'm looking to see if they can pick up a Tyranitar or a Garchomp. I think this is going to be fantastic to felling the tree.
I was very much hoping for the Tyranitar then, buddy, but no, they're going to go with the tried and tested Blaziken. We do have Glaceon coming out here from Amar, and I actually like that pick. You don't have Venusaur on the field anymore, but you've got to make sure that you are capable at staying at range, because look at what they've now picked up. We've got the Aegislash on the field, getting ready for all those boosters to go, and then you've got to keep out of range of Clem, who has absolutely devastated this team in the previous game.
Taking a page out of Ghatlue there, Clem, as they go in with the Talonflame, like you just said. They need a little bit of way to get in and also a little bit of range. But as we look at that, Ayami-chan holding on here. You know, let's see if this is going to be a Sylveon pick, maybe a Mythical Fire. This team's very much heavily invested into physical attack. But no, we're going to see a little bit more on Miraidon here. We're going to go on both roles here, but likely going to be Charge Ball.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the call here, but I mean, it could be, and you know what? I'd be very much down for it, because right now, I don't think 2 ranged attackers with what they've got on the field is decent against what the enemies are bringing out here. I think realistically, probably a bit more frontline, probably a bit more crowd control would have been better, but hey, Azeri have taken game 1, bro. Nobody can count them out here.
Yep, it's going to be a rough one going into this one, but again, Azeri does not want to be complacent going into this. They're looking really good, so they want to make sure that they've got things working for them, right? So hold on to your seats here as we move in, but it's gonna be a rough one.
I feel sorry for my neighbors if AZE take this one, bro, because I am going to be screaming the roof down. I do like the comp from the enemies. I think they've got a better comp coming into this one, but I don't know. With the games we've been seeing today, mate, it could really go either way. What's your thinking about this one, Metal Spy Ryan?
I love how you finally called it out. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling both teams are really good here as I look back at the board. The problem I have, I guess, is really, do they have enough firepower? Right? AZE Esports is very much let's dump everything onto them, and it's a if I dump everything, like what do I have, right? Whereas on the other side, enemies are more burst heavy. So it's kind of a matter of like who can pop it off earlier now. Right? Is enemies gonna invest everything onto like the crossbow and then they have nothing to fight with? And then they have to contest on the other end, right? Or are we gonna see them both hit the right targets and then they have no damage?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the rotations, of course, there's going to be a better power spike for the enemies coming in with deflection rather than the Glaceon. That's really looking for that level 6 before they can start cooking, whereas you don't need that on the side of the Talonflame. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. So is the Yami-chan versus this poor little Sobble here as they try and find the KO. Yaneko, got to keep an eye on them, buddy. They were so good in the previous game.
Right, moving into that though, we're gonna see how they push themselves up forward as we do see the Glaceon back into the fray here. First pick up here, the Icicles are kind of just ready and waiting for it activated. Ooh. And that's going to be the shotgun build. Love how you see that. It's gonna be a full investment coming in here, but this bird has taken out for the pickings. And of course, getting a few more dunks herself never hurts. Clem looking very strong after that.
An absolute statement made by Clem there in those opening moments. Just like, yes, I am the one that will be winning this matchup. But I absolutely love the fact that they're bringing out Icy Shard here, buddy. I think that is a brilliant call. Of course, you know, the shotgun, get them up, continue to get them up for those flies coming in. And we do see a good approach here from Clem as they look to put the pressure onto a Yami-chan, but they're still trying to put the damage onto this Phantom. But the enemies get out of that uncontested.
And already we are going to see how there is a substantial lead for the enemies this time. Again, 69 point as we move into that. And again, 15 seconds on the clock here. We're going to see them slowly count down to Regidrago here. We do see the first few hits coming in. And there it is. The low torching slowly trying to run back to grab a score here. But it's against two swords and a person with hula hoops.
They do manage to find the stack, and Combusken is on the field. The hula hoops trying to cut them down, give the stun. Right now, though, a Yami is sent packing. Legendary Pokemon, I think not, as Talonflame takes that one, and they try to take down the Crystal, and they do. Oh, baby, a triple comes out from Clem here.
Hey, it's not over just yet. Glaceon looking to see if he can grab a nice shot here. Slowly finding his mark onto Regidrago. Does not want to force it too fast. Waiting for opportunity here. Quento holding his ground with his team. Yaneko coming in to the fray. One shot is all you need here, but this bird's gonna punish you. But no, instead investment is onto the side of Regidrago as Inteleon finishing it off, and Yaneko showing that, you know, this lizard's got something packing.
I gotta say, I do think they're struggling at the moment against Clem, and looking at the other side of things as well. Nearly there with the Unite move on what? The Inteleon, the Aegis Slash. It feels like the enemies are taking back control of Feyre Sky Ruins in this game so far, but they're just waiting for those levels on that Blaziken to really put up a fight. It's getting a little bit too hairy up here, though, but as they try and push through, knowing the springboard isn't there, they do pull Combusken out of that area and find the KO.
Yes, but that's the thing though. The enemies have been in control of the game since that first game as well. Right now, it is looking a little bit more shaky as well, since they're giving a lot more trades than they would. It feels like they're a little bit shaken up here, and they kind of need to regain some composure into this match here. First, they need to start their Regieleki here before they go for anything else, as right now, looks like they're being pressured with Brazil slowly picking up the damage here, and there's the first pick on the Blissey. It is so rough for them.
Oh, that's going to go in. The Lecky managed to get the passive on the side of Emar, but they can't go and score points, unfortunately. But still, 171 points to 39 right now. AZE are definitely on the back foot in this game too.
You definitely hate to see that here as the Aegis Slash. You kind of just miss one shot and you're kind of stuck going in. That was your 40 points to dunk.
100%, buddy, and you needed that to really keep up this lead. Although Crustle really putting the fight to the Trevenant here. Mars going for the rip, trying to find the KOs is Clem, but they run into the massive Crustle, and the X-Scissor connects. They do find the KO. Mariadon getting the revenge, and now it's all down to the sword to try and see what they can do, but they get sent packing with icicle spears thrown onto them, and now the Azure Spy Vision comes through, and that's going to do enough to clean up Azeri Esports. But the Regirock is going to reset here.
And again, are you telling me that this is not convincing? Azeri Esports is slowly picking themselves back up here. I think the thing that's the problem is that the enemies are slowly being shaken. They are trying to find some headways, but again, it's kind of rough for them. And now that we see them go in here, this one Traveler is holding them here. We have the Bright Future Meteor Storm for, thankfully, while not getting the secure here, Crustle is backing them up here. But on the back lines here, what is Iron going to do? As we do see the bird coming in to finish it off. Oh, and the pickup on the Thunderstorm though. That's a nice trade.
Yeah, that is massive, but I'm not sure if Bravebird was the call here without having the backup of Hooper on your side at the all times. But right now, Azeri Esports trying to see if they can get a good pick onto the enemies. Rubble Rouser's going to come on through. We've got Blaziken trying to see if they can isolate Quento here, if they can find them with the overheat, and they do. That's the target that enemies wanted to go down while their team goes on the retreat right now. Clem, they're not in the bush, buddy. They thought they were, but they're spotted, and they're absolutely cut down as Azeri Esports making an approach here onto the pad, but the Kudagla is going to come on through and cut down that oppression from Azeri. And now they've got to go on the retreat as the enemies are locking down the KOs.
I'm sure our French caster can say a lot better than what we can do here, but what is definitely for sure, they're playing out of their minds right now, holding their ground.
They really are, buddy. I mean, Azeri, they're not letting go, though. It's not an easy fight here for the enemies. They are getting KOs, they're managing to get objectives as well, but they've just got to do enough to get more points in. We see some more going into that top lane right now, though. This Talonflame is being a bit of a nuisance for them. The Flame Sweep is going to come on through, and oh, baby, they clean up Azeri Esports. That's a triple. That is an almighty quarter, I believe. Clem showing up here for the enemies.
And you gotta give it to them, holding the ground back into the fray here. It's looking a little bit shaky early on, but now enemies holding the ground back into the fray here, and they still pick this up, but Reggie liking to do it as well. Azeri's holding some form of, dominance back into the field here. They do have some level of map control and EXP to hold, but I would say the scariest part now is that there's a level 14 bird on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
and the fly-in.
Oh, Clem's been cooking them as they come in there with the Brave Bird, getting it set with the Aerial Ace as well. Bright Future Meteor Storm trying to defend the pad here, but the Lecky has gone on in. Imar finds the KOs alongside this Mariadon, but Taneko is going to find the hit, and they look for Imar here as well, but no! Shotgun in the back, sent back to Nurse Joy.
You might say it's a back shot there, but hey, you know what? That is not coming from my mouth anytime soon. As we do take a look into the scoreboard here, 291 to 71 here. It looks like there's a really big disparity here. They're going to need 220 points to clean this one back up into the fray. And then one more point after that for Azeri Esports to hold themselves true. 4 points coming in here, a start of many, as we do see Bravebird coming in, and the overheat is committed. This is not looking good for this Blaziken. He's fighting a lot of good fights here, not hitting its mark though.
Nearly managing to get out, but Bravebird, unfortunately, too low of a cooldown for them to be able to defend that. A 49. Oh, absolutely disruption there. They were going to get a 49 overcap, but Blissey scores it anyway. Oh my god. Metal Spy Ryan, that's ridiculous.
Hey, you know what? Numbers are not in our, dictionary when it comes to Pokemon Unite, but hey, it's all the same here as we move into that. Azeri Esports do have one more tier 1 at the bottom side here, so it's not over for them just yet. Clem waiting for the opportunity to fly in here. It's a really good one. This Bravebird could be massive going into that. First pick up here, the 4 hit. They go, the air ace going for 1. They pull back. That's a very brave but indeed, but not a lot of commit from that. And like this is coming from Clem, they have everyone here basically here. First pick up here, and unfortunately, there's the pick up here with the Blaziken. Nicely done, coming in for the Blaziken. And right now, it looks like this is the opportunity to try and make something work here.
I think they may have shown their cards a bit too early on the side of the enemies, buddy. The level 15, Talonflame has now gone. Azure Spy Vision's coming in. If they can hold out here against this, it will be massive. Daymar nearly going on down. They do manage to get away. Jimmy-Do has pulled out the rings on loose, and they're going to pull in the rest of the team. But the Bright Fury Meteor Storm is going to say goodbye to the enemy's efforts at the moment. But look at the approach coming in. Oh, and it's going to be Talonflame. Clem comes back for the enemies to clean up Azeri Esports. Now it's down to what Blaziken can do, and they just run into the arms or the claws of Talonflame.
That's not looking good. They have a laser gun at the bottom here. It's gonna be a little rough coming in here. They do not manage to pick up. Unfortunately, Azeri is gonna pick themselves up for a round 3 here. It's gonna be rough to come back from this one, especially when the enemies have the ground on buff.
Oh, that's going to be us going to a game 3, I believe, buddy, because right now, 40 seconds left. I don't think Azeri can do enough to even go and score points as well as defend these pads. The buff is onto the side of the enemies, and that was an absolute doozy. Again, Clem dominates Azeri Esports in this game.
And I gotta be honest with you, it was definitely very convincing seeing how they actually pan out here, but all the same, very rough. I don't think there is a way out for them.
The thing is, I felt like they just needed a little bit more frontline on the side of Azeri Esports, but I gotta say, I was more impressed with the Miraidon than I thought I was going to be. Of course, Yami is a brilliant player, but those Bright Future Meteor Storms made a huge difference in those team fights, and then, of course, I love the Icy Wind coming out from Glaceon as well, but it was actually quite close. It all came down to the ground-on fight yet again.
And you gotta admit, I mean, it was definitely a fantastic run going into this here, and I would have loved to see a little bit more coming in from Azeri here to try and hold the lead, but you know what? We cannot have a finish if it's not climactic. So, you know what? Enemies and Azeri going in for a round 3 here to see who will pick this one back up. And again, look at the damage coming from Clem, taking so many fights, having 110,000 damage onto its name. And on the other side here, a very even spread across the board for the attackers. So this means that across the board here, Clem's objective was just massive disruption by dishing the damage wherever they can. And I've got to give it to them, working really well.
I mean, it's absolutely on point. Clem was the Pokemon, was the player that Azeri Esports has not been able to control in 2 games now. And I think that is what the enemies need to concentrate on, because it was brilliant play, buddy, and it felt like uncontrollable for Azeri Esports to answer with it. It was close as we hit the ground on fight. I was having a look on this side, and again, if they had just capitalized on having Clem taken out and just gone for those fights a little bit more aggressive with Clem being on cooldown, I think they could have taken that. It's the fact that Talonflame came back and picked up really easy KOs that they ended up losing that, mate.
And here's the bans here as we go through that as well. Now, I absolutely agree with you what you just said, and this is going to be how they shake it up here. Yaneko, I kind of feel like if Yaneko was on Italian and it wasn't Snipe Shot, then maybe this might be a better pick here. Solar Beam looking mighty fine here. The choice specs coming in here, Axle Bracer, and as well as that amp.
Ooh, okay, this is... What is going on, buddy? We've got Charizard pulled out straight away. Venusaur makes sense as such a dominant pick, but Charizard usually comes a little bit later. And also Dodrio. What are these first picks coming out here?
Right, and we're gonna see how this is gonna pan out here. Of course, I'm happy with my selection going into that here. Enemies has still been the team that I'm rooting for. Moving on to the other side, though, I'm very respecting the Gen 1 pick here. Hey, we have a winner! Alright, Azeri Esports, you guys gotta work hard to make us look real dumb here today. 2-1 is the score line they're looking for, and we are gonna hold our hopes up for the enemies to pick themselves up for a Lucario Gengar win.
I absolutely love this, bro. The enemies are coming out of the gate. Clem has also... Oh, wait, no, it's the other way around. So Clem has locked in the Pikachu rather than... You know, the Alolan Raichu, they're coming on. Oh, it's been banned as the Alolan Raichu, sorry. But yeah, so there's Azeri Esports here on your left-hand side. I mean, Dragonite as well. We never see Dragonite anymore, mate. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to say, yeah, wait a minute. Some of those players on that side make... Yami's on the enemies, and now we've got Clem on the Zeri. We're going to redraft, chat. I think that's probably why... Oh, that makes me sad. That's why we've got those picks.
you know what? To be fair, those were fan service picks anyways. They gotta give it to them. They at least decided, you know, we're going to mess it up.
Bro, I even wore my Gengar top today, look, just to bring out some Gengar play, but unfortunately they're just gonna tease me with that one.
You know what? I'm gonna change my shirt after this. You're absolutely right. I should have worn a shirt that's more fitting for today.
Let's see as we go back in to the redraft here, and players are where they're meant to be. Will they go for the Gengar Lucario picks?
I believe in them. Yeah, no, I believe in them. I'm holding my breath a little bit, but I believe in them.
We can only hope, buddy. Alolan Raichu has now been let through. It's going to be the Hooper, Umbreon, and Teleon. Venusaur, Suicune, and Sableye banned out, and it's going to be a first pick of Snorlax. Now the world makes sense.
Oh. Wait. Actually, there's still hope. Technically, we could see Azeri pick up the Gengar and the Lucario still. It's not impossible.
What's going on here? No, they're going to go with the Blaziken. Okay. The Pokemon that were coming up for Braswell, then I was like, are we sure? But no, they're going to lock in the Blaziken. Ayame's going to pick up the Mew. What's Amar going to go for? Ranged attacker or pick something for the rest of their team? I think healing would be a good shout here.
Skill check.
A brilliant pickup.
Oh, skill check. Come on, pick the Lucario. Ooh, it's interesting. Gotta give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, fair point, mate. I wasn't expecting a Wigglytuff coming on out when Blissey was there as well. What's the enemy's going to throw at us? Please, Clem, bring us Godzilla. We want the Kaiju. No, Quento's going to take the Trevenant instead.
Lucario. Aymar, come on. You picked it once, you can do it again. Come on. Bring it to me. Bring it to daddy. Come on.
Thing is, Lucario makes sense in this meta as well as the comp that the enemies have, buddy. But no, I think it's going to be my second favorite, Absol, on the field, and they do stick with a Charizard here for Azeri Esports.
Wait, we might get the Kaiju. There is a hover on it.
Clem, we beg.
Hold on.
I mean,
you're a monsters. It's not the enemies. This is the monsters.
The hope that they gave us, bro, dashed away. But right now, we've got to say, we're in game 3. The enemies versus Azeri Esports. And that alone is a massive step up for Azeri Esports, mate. So these teams have been incredible in this week 12, week 13 fight out for these groups.
Oh, 100%. As we go into this is going to be one for the ages. Also, because it's the last week, I mean, it better be one for the ages, right? They've got a lot of experience coming in for a whole 13 weeks. I think this is going to be a show of everything they have. They want to get a good seat going to the playoffs here and then, play out of their minds.
Yeah, especially as we hit those group stages, mate. And of course, I believe, I'll get confirmation, but Empoleon is going to be playable as we hit those because it has the cost of 2-week ban, doesn't it? So, we've got that Pokemon that people still feel is very strong. And that means that if it's going to be banned, it opens up one of these more common bans that we see. Venusaur, Suicune, for example. So it's going to be probably the most interesting tournament you see of Pokemon Unite.
Right, so let's take a look at how this pans out here. But Tano, we have our decisions locked in here. At the end of the day, I don't really think it's about who wins. It's about who can give us the best show in Pokemon Unite here. This match has been a banger, and it's going to stay that way to the very end.
In my opinion, Azeri has already won in regards to how well they've played to get us to a game 3 here, buddy. Azeri have 2 wins on the entirety of this league. The enemies have 10, and we're here at a game 3 with an impressive showing from Azeri Esports in that game.
Hey, that's a good way to look at it here, but I'm going to give you the objective facts. Might be the monster for saying this, but at the end of the day, Azeri wants to pick themselves up a 3rd win in the season here as we take a look at how this pans out. So, it's going to come down to this. They've got to play this one like they've done the first round. They might be winners in your hearts here, but we're going to need some definitive scores.
Yep, the facts are, it's all about who ends up winning the games as the Aneko's trying to see if they can get some good damage onto Ayami here. It's difficult in the lane with this poor little fox, but they have managed to get the focus band, I believe, and there goes Ayami. The enemies picking up where they left off here.
Rough one to say the least here as they go in for another fight. And again, we're gonna at least see no casualties on either side just yet here, but I'm looking a little bit on for that Charmander. Slowly but surely, there it is. The Shadow Sneak coming in to clean it up, but return it in favor with the Absol. Nicely done.
Oh, bro! I mean,
good tries.
This is why Pursuit needed the nerf, and I 100% agree with it. I'm not sure about the Midnight Slide. It's a rollout Wigglytuff! Oh,
what a banger! Oh my lord! Okay. Do I vote for them now?
Bro, you've got to do, bro. You don't expect it, but it's a rollout Wigglytuff. Absolutely incredible scenes from Azeri.
Are we accepting that this is the right call? Are we saying that we should vote for this? Oh, I'm so confused. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. Chaos.
I mean, they do have a pretty melee heavy team, to be fair. It's just, of course, that Delphox going to be hard to catch because I'd imagine it's going to be Flame Charge. But 10 seconds here from the Regidrago spawning on in. We've got a rotation coming out from both teams as Eldegoss is set up. But now, Azeri Esports trying to put the pressure onto the enemies.
Right, and as we do take a look at how this is going to pan out here, it's only going to start snowballing here. 64 points up onto the side of Zeri here, and they're trying to find a way out of the central area. Oh, the enemies have slowly just kind of locked this Wigglytuff off. Slowly picking it off here, there's going to be a level 6 KO. Give a lot of EXP back to them.
To be fair, though, the distraction they've just pulled out, a Midnight Slash is going to come through from Aymar. Ridiculous Unite move to have before these objectives first come on in as well, but it is huge for Azeri Esports. 99 points to 6.
Looking a little bit rough for them across the board, but slow and steady wins the race as they do start it off here. Cycle Slash coming in, and again, the pickup onto Quento. Taking a lot of damage, but hey, he's a tank. He's got a lot of health to work with.
That
nice
it does. Huge heavy slam going on in there for trying to get into that backline, but the block doesn't pick up anyone, though. There's the Psycho cut as Absol looks to cut down the enemies here. Diving up that flux zone, has to get on out, and luckily, Flame Charge wasn't ready to go on the side of that Delphox.
Nice pickup here. They're going very well. Just needs a little bit of patience moving into this. Solar Beam coming in, invested, and of course, they're still able to make it out here. It looks like this Snorlax gets a little bit of help on the Reggie Ice pickup and is holding its ground. But again, the buff is just gone just like that. But that was all they needed, because look at this Midnight Slash coming in here. Taking for 1 here, just needs another one onto that. There it is. Trevenant down for 2. We might see an Eldegoss for 3. And there it is. Third times the charm.
Bro, I tell you, Absol's like the most broken speedster in the game right now, but they've taken the Regice, they're gonna get the Regieleki. How impressive is this from Azeri Esports? The enemies have only been able to score 6 points. Yes, they are a bit more late game here on side of that Delphox and that Aegislash, but bro, they are currently so far behind that they're risking not being able to get into the fight in the final moments.
Right, moving in forward for this though, I'm loving how the fight is going in. Seismic Slam goes in for 1 here. They have the damage onto Trevenant. No tanks remain. Pushing it back. Absol dishing the damage out here, but the pad holding them steady here. Aegislash trying to find its mark here onto Snorlax here, cutting down the size. And here it is. The Dance of Fireworks going in, hoping to stop them down. We do see the pull out and the pick out onto Regieleki, and thankfully the onslaught is over with 2-2 casualties on both sides here. But numbers are still looking very favorable for Azeri here with 163 points to the 6 on the side of the enemies. No scoring, that means, from Brazo, and no stacks to find.
Is massive from the enemies to do that there, though. They've definitely got more into this game. Looking at the levels, buddy, they're taking the lead, except for, realistically, that Absol, which is the biggest threat for the enemies. But that was massive, so they haven't got any points to score for it, though, and that's going to be difficult for them. But if they can continue to work as a team at those fights, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing this game.
Right, absolutely agree with you there, and now they've got to continue this onslaught that they're trying to go for here, because if they let down for a second here, enemies might hold them back. And there it is, first coming in here, Overheat does hit really tough, a nice sing and dance with everyone here as we do it out. The pushback, however, onto Wigglytuff for 1. Calling out Crash Infested here, they do get a little bit of healing here, it almost get the pick up onto Charizard, and thankfully, they can continue this onslaught with a little bit more. The Seismic Slam coming in here, dishing the damage out. It looks like Aegislash is looking very low, but not enough. Sacred Sword committing into that here, and the dragon has been felled. Next one coming out here, the little puff ball is now down and out for the count here, and the sword is taken out as well. Now, we do see Trevenant back into the fray here. It's 4 players into that Trevenant here, 3 to try and pick up Quento.
I absolutely love that Ayami pulled out the Mystical Mirage and then just waited to find the right target that they could get a KO onto. Takes down the Aegislash. Great movement from them, and a double KO comes out from Absol yet again as Azeri continue to look to dominate this game. 23 points going to rain on into this T2. Some more that they can score as well. See if they go for it. But Yaneko here at level 13 on this Delphox. That's going to be huge at that Flame Charge in the final moments.
Looking really solid across the board here. Reggie still picked up onto Zeri as well. That's 2 Reggies to their name, and the levels are flowing. Level 14 onto Absol here. Has a Midnight Slash, can come in for another fight. There it is. The first pickup coming in here. Nicely done. Stopping another one here, but what can this level 10 tree do to this massive creature that is the Absol at 14 here. Nice dodge track, comes in for it, might get the pick on the cotton ball, and there it is. Another one bites the dust.
There's a reason it's called the disaster Pokemon. It's caused a disaster for the enemies here. As we do see Seismic Slam coming on through. They haven't found the KO with it just yet. Coup de Grace gets pulled out though. That was not needed, and that is huge for them to take for this next team fight, as we do see if they can pair on up to find some important KOs here. The enemies are running right now, buddy, as Azeri Esports chases them down. I would let them go back to that pad and try and reset for the rest of your team coming in.
Right, and it's looking really good though across the board. I'll be honest with you, maybe the coup de grace was a little bit wasted here, but that KO is definitely going to give them back a little bit of AO's energy across the board here. Yaneko trying his best here, hits the 14, is able to make it back here. One heavy slam is all he needs. There it is, there it is. We were calling it out, and we have seen it. The level 13 of the Snorlax though is going to be really massive. I'm liking how this is shaping up for Azeri Esports across the board. They have a level 15 to the name as well.
Oh, this is crazy. 50 points are going to go on in here from Clem. That at least cuts down this score lead, but with 20 seconds until Groudon is on the field, Regieleki is going to be taken by Azeri Esports. Looks like we're going to say goodbye to Snorlax as they try and stall out here. They should just get KO. There we go. They accept it. They want to be back for Groudon, but they're not going to be back just in time.
And it's going to be a little bit tough for them as they go on for this here. Wigglytuff now out for the count here. That's another tank to their name. Azeri losing 2 of their tanks here, which is now the only 2 tanks they have. Mew also going up for the count. Charizard also down here. There's only 1 Midnight Slash for them to work it out. And honestly, I'm not saying that that's enough, but I'm saying that that is going to be a good amount of stuff to start off with. Midnight Slash commits. No commits here. It looks like they tell it down, and the enemies are moving on with the Groudon buff.
That is such a shame. Azeri Esports effectively throws it away, making that push. But I mean, it isn't. We've got a minute 30 left. They're going to score these Hundo Burgers here. That's going to go over. But you've got to get buffs here, buddy. That's the only way they're going to get back into this game. They've got to take KOs. They've got to work as a team, but you've got to defend both these pads now as well. It's a bit of a mountain now for Azeri to climb to win this one. There's still a minute 15 on the board. But, buddy, they kind of threw that away in the final moments, pushing the T2 pad as Groudon was coming onto the field with the Lecky.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's not over till it's over. 1 minute on the clock here. They look a little bit confused, but I still feel a little bit of spirit back left in them. They just need to find a good fight to take one down first, drop a 50, and that's all they need to turn this around. First one coming in. Absol has the buff. This is potentially game-changing. Snorlax holding his ground, the correct call. Needs to find another pickup here. Has the fireworks invested in the Midnight Slash. There's 2. Losing that buff though. It looks like Absol is going for the right call here. Running back. The 50 drop. 437. No one's in the fray here. We see all 3 on the map. They are not anywhere near any pad. 30 seconds on the clock here. Snorlax holding his ground. Just needs to wait. Charizard holding back. It looks like we have a strong defense coming in for this one. The last defense, 20 seconds. This is it.
Absolutely massive from Amar. Spots the home pad, is open, dashes through the flux zone and goes for it. We've got 5 seconds left here, Night Terror. There's no buff yet that they can get on with. They're stopping them. There goes the Phantom Forest. Coup de Grace going to come on through. Azeri Esports absolutely demolishes in the final few moments, and the enemies fall to the 2 and 9 Azeri Esports in the final few moments here in the EUL.
I just pulled up my pants, guys. You can't do this to me. Azeri, 2-9 scoreline, pushing for a 3-9 against the enemies who have been solidly taking the lead across EUL. And right now, I'm not sure what to tell you, but there's a massive shakeup in the games here.
Bro, getting that buff onto the side of Absol, absolutely massive for them to be able to push and get that final score in. It was so close, and you can't say enough positives for Azeri Esports. I mean, the enemies, they kept it close, but buddy, they deserve to take a bow because that was really impressive. I'm speechless.
Oh my gosh, it was there. It was the same problem we had in the last match, right? That margin of error, right? And I gotta be honest with you, if it were me, I don't know if it were you, right? I was the Absol. I would have gone straight to the tier 2 pad and scored. I would have thought of going down to, like, you know, home base here. And that is, I wouldn't say creative, but I would say that was some high level play, recognizing the field, the state of the game, and they made it work.
Mate, I'm with you. If I was playing, I would have gone for the score on the T2, but that's the difference between us and these players, bro. Absolutely genius to be like, wait, they're all defending this T2. I've got Pursuit. That's going to cut me straight through this flux zone, and I can go and score with the buff. Ow, absolutely incredible, mate. And this is set 2 of the day. Verbs and Aseri with an absolutely incredible upset here.
I don't know, this is a good day to be me. I'm getting everything I want. Good games, the cast. I get the cast today. You know, that's a few. I get back to Lucario in a few hours. Technically, if we finish the dice event, we're going. Send it to a break, Kirtano. I want to see some more games coming up.
Yes, we do need to hit a break, chat, while we get the next one ready for you. And who knows what's going to happen after these two. Grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack. We'll be back with you very shortly.